let's see. We're gonna jump right into it. Let's do the top 5 mobile games of 2016.
We need Dean for that one because
yeah, exactly.
Because I'm a slightly self-proclaimed mobile game, not hater, but skeptic. Still,
yeah,
I would say.
I'm sure. You probably played at least one that's going to be on this list. I think.
I played some still, sure.
Right. I mean, and
I can think of one that I played.
Well, I mean,
I guess the question to me is there anything to talk about besides Clash Royale and Pokemon Go?
No,
Mario.
Yes, there are a couple.
Mario, but
hang on, real quick. I want to make something clear here. This is going to be our top 5 mobile games in 2016. The difference here is it's not of 2016. I don't care if a game came out in 2015 because on mobile, games are living. They are always changing. The game that came out in 2014 has gotten so many updates, it's indistinguishable from that game in 2016. It might as well be a new game. So if there is a game like, and I'm looking at you, Mike, like Hearthstone, that you think should be on this list because it was one of the best mobile games in 2016, I would want it argued for and maybe have a spot.
You kind of brought that up, and it's interesting to me. Hearthstone is not a mobile game to me. I very rarely play it on my phone. When I do, it's kind of a strange instance. That's almost 99% of the time I play that game, it is a PC game to me.
And not even on your tablet or anything?
No,
okay.
Not even
all right.
then.
Well, then, I mean, it probably won't end up on this list then.
There it is. Sorry. There is its big
Jason
chance.
should have showed up.
It seems like its best form to me is on the tablet.
Yeah, I mean, but Mike plays it more than either of us, and I could see it like, I don't know, it was made by a PC developer, and I'm sure it's a great mobile version of that. But I could see
when I play it. I mean, I play it for kind of a while, so just to hold something that whole time, I don't know, if that makes any sense.
I think what's interesting also is that there are some games that are coming out that feel like they're not playable on a smartphone, but they are really great on a tablet. And I would
give some examples.
Dawn of Titans is a great example there. It's just like you cannot really just hit the right point on the touchscreen with just so many different things moving around on it. It's just not playable on a iPhone 6. But it is very entertaining on a tablet. And the War Commander Rogue Assault game that just came out. Same kind of problem is that there's lots of things moving around on the screen. You have to hit one and then point it to something that you're going to attack.
Yeah, I mean maybe like the biggest phones, maybe like the biggest like iPhone and the biggest like Samsung Galaxy Note or something when they're not exploding. Maybe you could play it on there.
Yeah.
Because I don't get that why they would just make a game that kind of runs best on tablet because tablet's so much
they
smaller
tried, but graphically it's just such a start.
Okay, but I'm going to start putting some games on this list, and actually, we could talk about them, and then I'll put them up here on the right hand side so people watching the video can see us discuss them as we go. But I think Pokemon Go. Let's put it up on there.
What
you guys think? I mean, I understand a lot of people at the time, and they still would argue that it's not a very good video game. But I would disagree.
I mean, it was definitely a broken game a lot of the time.
Right, it's broken, yes. 100% with you. It was broken, but it was still fun, and it did what it was trying to do.
It was different. It actually created memories, right? Like, I did stuff with my friends in that game and the real world. It was a really exciting moment that... It was a very unique thing.
Yeah, it created a change in behavior, getting people off the couch and
right.
into parks.
It is kind of a shame that I'm not sure if that's going to keep up or like if next summer are we going to all be out with our phones again, or was that just kind of a one-time deal? I don't know.
Well, I think if they ever get this gigantic update out, then they've got a chance. But yeah, it seems like they're trickling it out.
Yeah.
Now. Is it better or worse than Clash Royale?
I think it's better, but Clash Royale is not my thing.
I think it's better than Clash Royale as well. But
I think Clash Royale is actually a lot more sustaining purely on gameplay. I think your motivation to play Clash Royale is that I want to outwit somebody else in a game that has quite a few fun little tactical decisions to make.
It definitely had those things.
Pokemon Go is to go out for a walk.
Yeah, but I think what you're doing there is you're finding you're comparing a traditional gameplay mechanic that we all know, oh, that's gameplay, against something that was a very new idea of what gameplay can be. Going out for a walk, that's kind of reductive. It's way more than that. You're going out for a walk to explore the world, to find these creatures, and then to battle these creatures against other people's creatures at gyms, and to discover new Pokestops in your area. And it's like a whole other idea of exploration that we haven't seen before, because it's an entirely new idea for a game. I mean, not considering Niantic's previous games, which were very similar, but it was so huge that it introduced it to so many more people, and it's such a great idea, a great wrapper of the Pokemon brand, that I think to me, it's more impressive and more fun than Clash Royale. And my criticisms of Clash Royale, while I like the game, it's very good. I see where the craft went. But Clash Royale, it's not necessarily always just outwitting your opponent. It's outwitting your opponent in the moment, and then 3 or 4 fights later, once you've unlocked all the packs you can unlock it for that moment, it is seeing how you absolutely need to spend money to continue moving up the path. And the game's just like, here are all the reasons you should be spending money on this game, because then you could have that, that unit that your opponent has. He keeps beating you with that, and every time you get high enough, you see that unit, and it keeps beating you over and over. You don't have that, and you could get it if you played this game nonstop all the time, or you can pay us money right now.
I've been playing it the whole year, and I haven't spent any money.
No,
I'm actually perfectly happy going up against somebody who's kind of similar in ability to me. And I don't really care that I'm not really advancing that high, because every time I advance high, I get knocked back down by somebody.
Right.
And yet, I'm getting a lot of entertainment out of just playing in the sort of the band of players where I can be competitive without spending money.
Yeah, I wouldn't deny that at all. I would just say that for me, it was much more obvious the pain points that Clash Royale was putting into its game, or Supercell was putting into Clash Royale, than it was with Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go, obviously, it has its own, where it wants you to spend money, especially if you're a rural, I can't say that word, if you're out in the country and you don't have any Pokestops around your house.
I do think this is why Clash Royale monetizes so well, and it's going to generate more than $1.1 billion, just in the first 11 months of the year.
Yeah.
And I guess there are other examples out there, like Dawn of Titans. We've got someone who just reviewed it and found that it was really frustrating just to try to wait to get past all of the monetization walls, just by waiting out the building of buildings and things like that. I guess the game companies have to start realizing, I think, that they do lose a lot of players this way, and I think Clash Royale loses players this way, and so will Dawn of Titans. War Commander, which just came out today, has this instant build where you can get a building and you instantly can use it. And they know that they're giving up some monetization there. They're leaving money on the table, but they think happier players are actually going to stick around longer. And so it's a very sort of interesting decision that they made. And I think you have this sort of like on a slider, and the game developers have to sort of choose. Okay, where do we want to be on this slider? Right?
And I think figuring out the position on that slider that a game should be is kind of where the mobile industry is at right now. And for me, Clash Royale, as great of a game as it is, especially design-wise, it's too far to the one end of that slider for me to truly love it. And my argument here is not for it to not be on the list. My argument here is just I don't want it to be number one, because I'm hesitant to reward a game for so blatantly using the fun pain, which is an old term that was for mobile gaming, free to play gaming, and to see it so blatantly in the game bums me out, and I just don't want to reward it with number one on our list. So I'm happy with it being number 2 after Pokemon Go, but we don't necessarily have to decide that right this second. Why don't we make out the rest of this list, get a couple more games on here, and then we'll put it in order how we think it should be. So right now I have Pokemon Go, Clash Royale, and Dawn of Titans. I'm going to add one while you guys think of anything else you might want to add here. It's called Metro Mini. Have you either of you guys played this game?
Nope.
No.
All right. So Metro Mini is this game where you are basically a designer of an underground, subway system, and all these dots pop up on the map where triangles and squares and circles are lining up at these subway stops, and you have to connect them with different lines to enable them to get around the map to their location. It's a puzzle game. It's a real-time puzzle game, and it's one of the it's a clever idea. I really like that mechanic of designing the underground map. At the same time, it's just got this really beautiful style where it looks like, if you imagine like a paper map you would get to understand the New York underground transit system, where it's got those like really bright red lines and the yellow lines and the purple lines connected to circles. It's that exact thing, in terms of its visual aesthetics. And I really like that. It's really appealing, and it makes me want to keep going back, even though the game is very frustrating at times when you feel like you're getting overwhelmed with all these people that need to get to their stops and stuff. And it's also a premium priced app, which I think is rare and getting more and more rare on mobile. But it's one that I think is worth the price. It's only like $2 or $3. So I would put it on this list, but I'm willing to hear what else you guys might have that you might want to put on. I'm kind of
curious why Dean was earlier not receptive to Super Mario Run being on the list.
Well, I haven't spent my money yet, so I'm just playing these free levels, and it doesn't sort of do some things that I would expect it to do. Like you're constantly moving forward, right? And if I want to go backward, I can't go backward, or at least I haven't figured out how to go backward.
No, you can't go. It's an auto runner. You can't go backwards.
Yeah. Why not? Like, you can in a Mario game. Right? So it's...
Well, Super Mario Brothers, you can go back a little bit, but it stops at a certain point. Mm-hmm. You can only go back like 10 feet.
Yeah. But, some of the games where you can do that, they're more fun, I guess. Right? So, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think of other titles that just seem like they were, a little more innovative. Something like Color Switch. Color Switch got downloaded 130 million times this year, and it just was doing something different where you're just tapping the screen, trying to get a ball from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen, and obstacles in the way, right? And so it was just I almost would rather have seen something like more original from Nintendo than a runner game that I've played before. Just with Mario as the character on it.
I kind of get that. I don't think, especially on phones, like a runner is better or worse if you can turn around, right? I think I kind of like that idea that you are, you're moving, and it kind of makes it a bit more about reflexes, right? Like you have that second or two to make the decision if you're going to jump or not, and once you kind of miss it, you miss it, or you have to try again. I think that's fine. I agree that it's not a super innovative game. I think it works better than a lot of the other games like it. I think it controls, very well. I think it has, that kind of Nintendo production that you don't, sometimes you rarely see in a mobile game. But I mean, like I said, I haven't played Color Switch. I kind of have to take your word on that. It already sounds more interesting just from what you're saying on it. But
I sort of see like also just some mistakes that Nintendo made communicating about the game. Like, why did so many people wind up outraged that after 3 levels you have to pay $10 for the game? Why were they surprised? Like,
I mean, they're surprised because they don't pay any attention to anything about gaming, and that's the reason Nintendo's making mobile games in the first place, because they want to reach this audience that typically isn't paying attention to games. So even though Nintendo has said over and over the game is $10 in the lead up to the release, most people are just like, oh, there's a Mario game on iOS. I just heard this because my friend was playing it, or there was a big hubbub about it on Twitter. I'll go download it. Oh, it's free to download. This is great. And then they get to level 3 and they're like, oh, I have to pay and I can't play any more levels unless I pay. This is horseshit. And it's just like, okay, well, they're just used to. I think this is an audience, and this is not
it's
everyone.
An audience that Nintendo's not used to.
Right. Yeah, and it's an audience that won't pay money for games. Like there's a lot of people that have legitimate complaints about the cost of Super Mario Run, but there is an audience of people that is enormous that has never spent any money on gaming and mobile games.
Other people have solved this problem that Nintendo had, which was, for the free people, just show them advertisements. Right?
Yeah, but I don't think they want to. There's no way
version.
Nintendo's going to put ads in the game. No way in hell. And I don't know if it's a problem. Is it a problem?
It's always like an overlooked part of how to monetize a game properly, because there's two audiences. There's ones who will never pay, and
but I think they're just like
pay. And there's 5%. 5% of the people will pay. Why don't you monetize the 95% of other players who want to play your game?
Because the game's probably going to do fine either way, even without the money from ads. And then the game doesn't have ads.
It's not about the money. It's about making those people happy. 95% of the
I don't think Nintendo
you
cares.
are not
Nintendo
making
is
them happy.
But Nintendo can make people happy if they reduce the price of Super Mario, the latest 3D platformer for the Wii U, which came out several years ago now. Super Mario World, whatever it was, 3D World, yeah. If they drop the price from $50 to $30 to $20, whatever, but they take years to do that because they're like, pay the money or you just don't get to play the game. That's been their strategy this entire time. I think there's still room for there. Okay, maybe there's not room for that in mobile, but who cares? Like that doesn't hurt the game. It doesn't make the game worse. It only makes the game worse for people that don't want to pay the money, and they're not going to spend money anyhow. And Nintendo doesn't want ads in the game. I don't want ads in the game.
There was another way to do this too, and I forget the name of the monetization company that said this, but had they reduced, they argued that had they reduced the price from $10 to $2, they would have gone from like 1 or 2% conversion of those players to buying to 10%. And you're actually then getting the same amount of money coming in to Nintendo in revenues, but they make 10% of the people happy instead of just 2%. Right?
But they could always reduce the price, and they probably will because of what you're saying. But you can always go down. You can't go back up. And I think they wanted to see what they would get with $10. But this is outside this conversation. I don't know if that necessarily has if it reflects the quality of Super Mario Run and whether or not it should be on this list. Right now, I have Pokemon Go, Clash Royale, Dawn of Titans, Metro Mini, Super Mario Run, and Color Switch. Should we put any more on here before we start cutting stuff off and arranging?
No, I spent most of the year playing this Star Trek mobile game that was like the epitome of a mobile game that I only played because it liked that Star Trek characters were in it. And I don't think that requires consideration.
What did you guys think of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes? That came out in November of last year, but it actually sustained itself through the rankings all through this year.
It seemed to be the most popular of the Star Wars mobile games, right?
I don't think it will be for long. I think this Force Arena game, which is just a Clash Royale clone, which isn't out yet, but it's coming soon. I think it's going to replace it. Galaxy of Heroes, I couldn't really get into. I tried.
That wasn't my thing.
It just didn't register with me. That's the EA one, right?
Yeah, I think it's good for Star Wars fans. Just like the Star Trek game that I knew wasn't really very good. I kind of liked it anyways, in a weird way. I think maybe this game was even maybe better than that. So if you really liked StarArs and it was fun for you to collect all these heroes, then sure.
So I don't know, Dean. Would you want to put it on this list, Dean? You let me know, and I'll add it. And we can figure out if it makes the top 5.
Really, but I'm at the point where I have to get off the call soon.
Okay, all right. Well,
I guess my vote for this is Clash Royale.
All right. I think Pokemon Go should be number 1.
Well, don't look at me to tie break this crap. Here's the only thing I'll say is that Clash Royale was like the top mobile game this year that you probably would have expected, and Pokemon Go wasn't, right? So that's what makes Pokemon Go more interesting to me.
You guys are always ganging up on me.
I know. I'm sorry, Dean. I feel bad, but I still think you're wrong. I think Pokemon Go is a better mobile game.
Dean, you need to find a sidekick like I have Jeff as my sidekick.
Damn. All right, you're right. Clash Royale. Never mind.
Get Jason back here. Jason probably hates all of this stuff. You probably would have argued for Pokemon Go, to be fair. I think
so too.
So,
all right. Saying. Okay. I think it's going to be Pokemon Go. All right, Dean. All right,
now we can make it list whatever we want.
Exactly. Right. Have a good one, Dean.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Yep. All right, Mike.
What do you want?
I think Super Mario Run should be on the top 5 if you think it.
Oh yeah.
If you.
I mean, what is this Dawn of the Titans stuff anyways? Let's just put Color Switch there to make Dean happy and get rid of that. Yeah. How about that?
That's good. All right. Dean is still just clicking away on his computer. Everyone can hear that.
Dean, get off the call.
I know. Just mute yourself in the damn cast.
You can't find the cast window is the problem. He doesn't know where it is.
We have to deal with that old man all the time. All right. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna fix his window real quick, and then, well, let's just figure out this top 5. So I think Pokemon Go's number 1, and you're gonna agree with me. And then
yes, of course.
Clash Royale number 2, because he was pretty adamant about that.
He's pretty gung-ho about it.
I don't really care about Dawn of Titans.
Get that off of here.
Yeah, I know it's kind of a big game, but I don't want it. I don't think it should be on the list. And then now Super Mario Run, would you put it at 3, 4, or 5?
Look, I haven't played 3 or 5, so.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep Metro Mini at 3, Super Mario Run at 4, and Color Switch at 5. I like that list.
This is my approval pointing at you.
You're clicking and pointing, so that must mean that we did good. We did good.